All systems go. Cleared for takeoff.
What is going on, YouTube? We're back. Not an NFL show. I get it. NFL, it's like Christmas morning here, but we still have a baseball slate to win some money. Got a nice little, 5-game, 6-game slate tonight. I don't even know how many games there are on the slate. I'm more worried about right there, that Detroit Lions jersey there and the Kansas City Chiefs tonight. Our guys just got off the air right here on this channel. Did the full breakdown of tonight's showdown slate. Absolutely incredible breakdown. Ran through some of our partnerships there with Run the Sims, other things like that. Showed some of our tools, talked through game theory, talked through everything. So definitely give that video a check for tonight's slate while you build your lineups. But we got an early start here tonight for the MLB slate. So we're going to jump on here early, a little bit earlier than usual, give you the winners. We appreciate everyone joining on this MLB/NFL bonanza here. I see our guy Gator Nation in the chat. We love that. Sean in the chat. But I got to bring my guy in. It's Gyiraszin. We're back, man. We're back on a show. You got your Lions. You got the Barry Sanders there in the background. Probably a Spencer Torkelson rookie card or 12 behind you there somewhere. How we doing, man? Welcome. Happy Thursday. Happy opening NFL season.
Oh, dude, it's great. I've been on a high the last week, man. I went down to Orlando, Nades, and went and saw the Florida State LSU game, sat 50-yard line. That was an incredible experience, especially for a northern boy going to see some of these southern football. I mean, that was incredible. Had a good time. And then, hey, we get to kick off with the Lions here tonight. A lot of man, we're all drinking the Kool-Aid here in Detroit. I'll tell you that right now. We're all sucking the blue kick Kool-Aid down like crazy. I mean, we haven't won the damn division since 1992. There's no Aaron Rodgers. There's no Brett Favre. It's finally going to be ours, I think. So we're going to be excited about that. I see, with the, I see that face over there. That's all right. You got to give us it one time. Let's let me have it one time. So excited about it. I think the Chiefs might be in a little trouble, but we'll see. But, hey, I got 3 TVs, Nades. I'm going to be watching some baseball. I'm going to be watching some football. But, yeah, we got 6 games we can talk about. But excited to break it down. But, yeah, man, it's what a week. And for us touts, when you got to start juggling multiple sports, I ain't going to lie, man, that's not an easy gig. So we're putting it out there. We're getting it done, though, but it's a lot of fun. We only got, a couple weeks. Baseball calmed down. But, man, I love it, man. This is a great time of the year. Only shitty part is it's going to get cold soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Going to get cold, and it's definitely colder here today. 63 degrees and cloudy outside right now in Wisconsin. Your neighbor over here right across the little big pond that they call Lake Michigan there. But, great time of the year. I mean, football's starting up. We have everything covered over here. Want to run some promos here. There's still time, $321. Get in now, blast off. We're going to the moon. Don't want to miss it. You got the entire NFL season for $321. Not only that, you got MMA, you got PGA when it starts back up. I'm going to be heading up hockey, NHL, do very well in NHL and NBA. I mean, our NBA product is going to be absolutely incredible. The projections alone, the tools, the models, things like that we have available are absolutely insane in terms of NBA. So definitely want to get in now. And I believe there is still got a little bit of time, I think, in those drafter streets. A couple hours left. Hop in there. Use our partner code, SHIPIT, to get a 100% deposit bonus up to $100 there. Deposit 100, you get 200 there. Still time to chase some of that overlay in there and jump in there before kickoff tonight. But that's going to do it for the promos there. We got 6 games to talk about. Interesting slate here. It's a slate centered around Atlanta. Anytime any team is facing Adam Wainwright, the corpse himself on the hill, they're going to be a focal point. And now you get the best offense in baseball facing one of the worst journeymans in the league right now. I mean, this dude should not be making a start for any major league team. But the Cardinals obviously traded away all of their starting pitching because they're punting the season, right? They haven't done what they've needed to all season long. Had a down year here, so we're going to talk on that. But let's talk pitching first, like we always do. We got a couple guys on the slate. Obviously got Luis Castillo all the way up at the top. Going to be pretty low owned just because he is $11K and people want to spend for those Braves bats. He's in a good matchup here, and he's pitched very, very well against these Tampa Bay Rays in his career against this lineup here. Got Max Fried, who's going to be the clear-cut chalk on the slate. Him and Rodon. We'll talk on Rodon in the lower tier. But DraftKings pricing, let's go 8K and above. So we got Braxton Garrett, Ryan Pepiot, Griffin Canning, Erod there for your Detroit Tigers, Max Fried, and Castillo. Really the only guy I'm seeing up here getting a ton of ownership is Max Fried. So all these other guys in here are going to be pretty low owned. I actually like Erod a little bit. If you can afford him there against the Yankees, I get it, right? Some of those Yankees bats smash left-handed pitching, but Erod, he's been good, man, and they do strike out a lot against lefties, so definitely hit on that. And then anyone else up in that top range you have interest in.
Yeah, I mean, just kind of breaking down some pitching, just taking a look. I mean, I got it down to 4 guys I'm even considering on FanDuel. Obviously, not having to play 2 pitchers helps me out a little bit, but Rodon, somebody you mentioned against the Tigers. I mean, this guy's just so up and down, but I mean, the price, if you want to play some Braves, I mean, I think that's pretty much where you need to go. I really like Castillo, as you mentioned, 26%, almost 27% K rate. But, you know, I just all season, it's like you see the Rays name next to one of the pitchers you're thinking about playing. And, you know, it's just not really an adventure that I've seemed to care to attack really all year. But I do like Castillo, but Max Fried, I'll tell you, he's seemed to have been pitching really well here the last few weeks. So I like Max Fried in this, but I think you'll get him on FanDuel lower owned. I think Rodon and Castillo are going to be higher owned than Fried. So I kind of like Fried, but on DK, I think Fried is going to be chalky because of the 2 pitchers. But I think Fried is probably my SP1. I do like Rodon. He's just going to be popular. Canning's going to be popular because everybody's going to want some Braves. But, I mean, today is definitely a day if you pay up for pitching and decide maybe to play a 2-man stack of the Braves or throw in a couple that you can afford. I think you're going to be a little bit different because I don't think too many people are going to pay up for Castillo or pay up for pitching today. As you mentioned, it's stinking Braves day. How can you not play the Braves against Adam Wainwright? I mean, but just remember, you're going to have to hit all 4 guys. You're going to have to nail all 4 guys if you think you're going to be in the top of a tournament if they do well tonight. So you either fade it or you just go all in. But, yeah, if you're going to play 4 Braves, there ain't no way you're getting up there in upper level pitching.
Yeah, absolutely. No, excellent breakdown. Yeah, DK, it's a little bit different. Castillo obviously being the most expensive, whereas on FanDuel, Max Fried is the most expensive. So ownership's going to flip-flop there. But Castillo's still probably going to be 20 to 25% ownership, give or take, on DraftKings. I still think he's a great play, great spend up. Looking at his career numbers here against this Tampa Bay Rays lineup, I mean, 40 plate appearances. Yeah, it's not a great sample, but he's struck out 38% of the batters he's faced against this lineup. He's got good numbers here. He ranks okay in our metrics here. He's got the best K rate of all the pitchers on the slate here, facing the 4th best strikeout matchup on the board. I mean, these Tampa Bay Rays do strike out against right-handed pitching here. So Castillo, I think, is a good play if you can afford him. And I did do the slate breakdown here for premium members over on SHIPITNation.com. Content's already up over there. I got both my cores and the slate plan. And my secondary core is actually a double spend up on pitcher because I do think it's going to be a contrarian route to go. And I think that's just how you get different. Obviously, if you're going to play the Braves, you can't do the double spend up pitcher, and it's hard to even get 1 spend up over 8K, right? I think Ryan Pepiot is pretty much the highest you can go to afford 5 of those Braves, at least including the Braves big bats that you want, right? Matt Olson, Ozzie Albies, Ronald Acuna, those guys. It gets very hard to afford those and afford expensive pitching. So for me, Max Fried, clear and away, SP1 for me. He's going to be chalk. I just don't care. I mean, he gets these St. Louis Cardinals. I'm not afraid, right, of the Cardinals. I get it. They got the Spencer Strider, yada, yada, yada. But new game. It's a new day here. Max Fried ranks amazing on our metrics over here. He's got a good matchup. These Cardinals do strike out typically, right? Years past, it's been, Cardinals, play the Cardinals against the lefty, right? But not the case this year. I mean, they're striking out at a 26% clip on the road to left-handed pitching. Max Fried, 26% K rate on the season. Limits hard contact, should have tons of run support behind him. So everything checks out. I think that's good chalk on the slate if you can afford him. He's clearing away my SP1. SP2 for me here is actually Erod. I talked about it, all right. I'm seeing him probably sub 10% owned on this slate. at 9,100. And I think he's a good play. I mean, these Yankees, 39% strikeout rate in this lineup. I get it. It's a little skewed, right? But Austin Wells in his one plate appearance against lefties struck out. You got Everson Pereira in here, 7 plate appearances. He struck out 72% of the time. I get it. It's limited samples, but I do think there's a ton of strikeouts there. And Erod's been good. I mean, he's glimpsed a little bit here as of late, but not the greatest weather in Yankee Stadium. I mean, it's in the 80s, but wind's kind of blowing across the field. I think Erod can go out there, limit hard contact, and definitely do well. And he's on the other side of the chalk in that game, right? Everyone's going to play Rodon. Rodon and Max Fried pairing is going to be super chalky, I believe, on the slate. Both of them are going to be 40 to 45% owned, I would say. So I do like Erod up there, low owned. Griffin Canning's interesting. He's going to get some ownership here. I have a hard time playing him against a low strikeout team here in Cleveland. We talked about, I know earlier we haven't done too many shows as of late, Gyiraszin, on here. You've done a lot of the quick hits and things like that. And we always talk about it, right? This Guardians team just, man, it's hard to play a pitcher, especially a pitcher that's 8,800 on a slate, right, where you want to pay for Braves, at least myself, against a team that just doesn't strike out, right? I mean, he's got a terrible projection over here. He's going to get some ownership. I get it, right? People just look at his strikeout rate, and it's 27% on the year, but these Guardians, under 20% strikeout rate on the season against right-handed pitching. So I'm out on Griffin Canning. Ryan Pepiot, I think, is interesting there, but I actually like 2 guys under 8K. So for me, it's really up at the top. It's Max Fried, Castillo, and Erod. Those 3, I like all of them. Castillo is definitely the lowest owned guy that if you have the salary, get up. I think if you do a double spend, Castillo Fried or Max Fried Erod or Erod Castillo, I think that's going to be a very unique roster construction on this slate. So if I was playing like I am, 2 to 3 teams, one of my teams is going to be a double spend up at pitcher. Let's hit on the rest of these guys on the slate. Definitely bring up Carlos Rodon, who's going to be super chalk here against Detroit. We've seen what these Yankees pitchers, Clark Schmidt did it last night. Garrett Cole did it the night before. Now we got Rodon, who, I mean, hasn't been exactly the Rodon of years past. I mean, he's had his last 3 starts have been better than when he first came back, but he gets this Tigers offense. And then talk on Javier Assad, who's been very, very good. And if you look at the weather, it's 60 degrees in Wrigley with double-digit wind blowing in. It's a win game, not for hitters. It's a win game for pitchers there in Wrigley Field. So I actually like Javier Assad quite a bit on this slate. And then I don't think you have too much interest, especially on FanDuel, of Littell or Nelson or Quantrill, any of those guys, but bring those up if you do.
I was looking at Assad. I mean, you look at his game log, his last couple games, it's 7 Ks. He's got 7 innings, 8 innings there. I definitely like the leash he has. Quality starts his last, 4 out of 5 starts. I mean, he's 8,500. He gets in Arizona, as you mentioned, he gets a win game. I think really pitching is going to be kind of, as I mentioned, those chalky guys. I was looking at Erod as you were talking. I think Erod, for me, I just being a Tiger fan against the Yankees, I've always kind of worried about him with righties, but I do like the Erod call. The righties there, that Yankee lineup's it's garbage. But I do like this Assad. The more you talk, I think he's not going, especially on FanDuel at 8,500. That's not a bad price. He's got some upside. As you mentioned, the win game there. I think the more I think about that, I think he is definitely interesting for me. I mean, I don't really care to Rodon, man. It's like I'm so excited about freaking football today. It's like there ain't no way the Tigers and the Lions are both winning. That don't happen in Detroit, right? We don't get that luck. The Detroit isn't that good, but Rodon, the dude's either getting blown up, but his last 3 starts, he's been decent. I mean, 5 innings, 2 earned runs, 4 innings, 2 earned runs, 6 innings, 1 earned run. Yeah, the couple games before he got blown up a little bit. But the Tigers together hitting against lefties, I mean, they haven't been – I mean, they're what, 5th in the major leagues in strikeouts, 254 Ks here. Let me just see here. Let me look. Maybe I'm looking at this backwards. I am looking at it backwards.
They're not great.
Funky. They don't strike out very much against the left. They're like the second at the bottom. But the last 15 days, they haven't been hitting all that well. I don't know. Tigers kind of worry me a little bit. I think this lineup is decent. I don't know. Bottom of this lineup, I'm just not a fan of some of these guys they have in. I like the Carpenters. I like Torkelson, obviously. I like Jake Rogers a little bit. But after that, there's too many road bumps in this Tiger lineup. I think Rodon actually is probably in for a decent game. I think Rodon is probably the play that I'd look at 7,400. I just think he's going to be too popular. So because of that reason, I'm off. If he wasn't popular, I'd play him. But I think on FanDuel, he's going to probably be one of the highest owned pitchers just because they're going to want a Brave stack. So I just think if you do want to go to the Tigers, I'm telling you right now, that'll probably be one of the best ways to get to the top. If you do decide to go that route, because I don't think the Tigers are going to be that high owned. I think the upside's there, but I think you're going to, I don't know. As an overall stack with it, I'm not going to say it's like a top stack for me. I just think it's great leverage if you do want to go there, especially more so on FanDuel than I think DK.
Yeah, no, excellent points that you bring up. I'm just looking at Carlos Rodon. Obviously, it's not the same Rodon that we've seen post-injury here, but I mean, 40% K rate against this lineup and 60 plate appearances. These Tigers are hitting for a 139 batting average against him. And looking at the last month's stats here, the Tigers against the lefty, I mean, Vierling, 27% strikeout rate, Torkelson, 25, Abanya is 25, 39% for Rogers, 34% for Miggy, 30% for Baez. There's three bats in this lineup that strike out under 25% against left-handed pitching over the last month. And I mean, Carlos Rodon, he has the strikeouts. I mean, yeah, it hasn't been there, but especially against lefties. I mean, he's striking out over the last month, 29% of left-handed bats. Obviously the Tigers only rolled out one in Kerry Carpenter, but I do think Carlos Rodon, I think he's a fine play, but I actually love, I mean, Javier Assad might be one of my favorite pitchers, if not my favorite pitcher on the slate. Looking at the weather, I mean, 60 degrees in Wrigley Field, 60 degrees with 10-mile-an-hour winds blowing straight in. I walked outside today here in Wisconsin, about three hours north of the stadium down there in Chicago, 3.5 hours, and it is cold. I mean, it's cold. It feels like November. Weather. Yeah, yep. It feels like November, and now you get wind blown into against a team that in the D-backs that just doesn't hit righties very good. And I mean, Assad has been great. So I think Javier Assad right there as a pivot off of Rodon. If you want to get different, play Max Fried, play Assad and fade Rodon. There is how I would do it. I love Javier Assad there, and really no other interest. I mean, so ranking pitchers for me, I mean, it's Max Fried number one, Assad number two, considering ownership, considering salary, and then I will put Rodon 3 just because I do think it is a good matchup here. He is going to be mega chalk. I probably wouldn't pair him and Fried together, but he is going to make the cut. And then my low-owned guy is going to be Erod. I just like Erod. He ranks very good in our stuff over here. So go ahead and give your top 4, and then we'll go game by game.
Yeah, I think my top guy is Fried. I think Castillo would be number 2 for me, and then I'll go Assad with the Cubs. I'll buy into that one with you. But I will say something about Rodon. Like this, all the years I've played, and like every slate's different, right? It's got a different dynamic about it. And I think this is a great one to, if you want to use Rodon, play another team, a third team, and maybe play half of your volume or a third of your volume and stack up the Tigers, because he could either be great or he's going to be bad. If he's bad, I mean, you're going to either way. And you could probably play the Tigers with the Braves, or you could figure it out. But all I'm saying is I'd probably stack against Rodon. So whenever I think a pitcher could either be really great or shitty, like this guy here, or, like Blake Snell back in the day, I just do either one. And if it ends up working out for you, it doesn't end the day for you. If your pitcher gets smashed in the first inning, you're kind of happy because you're at the top of the tournaments. And hey, I mean, that's what DFS is all about, man. So I'm not necessarily saying you got to hedge, but in situations like this, with this kind of a pitcher who's going to be chalky, I love the hedge stack.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll talk about it going now into game by game. First game on the slate, we have Seattle heading into Tampa to face Zach Littell, Luis Castillo on the mound. Tampa's a pretty easy cross-off spot for me. Mariners, I think, are interesting. I did write the Mariners up in the slate plan as a lower-owned stack. I think they come in a little lower-owned here. And guaranteed 9th inning at bats, 4.5 implied run total here against Littell. Littell below average league strikeouts, get barreled at a decent clip. So I do think these Mariners make some sense. I mean, Cal Raleigh, Teo Hernandez, Canzone, I think, is an excellent value play there. He's going to hit in the middle of that lineup at 3,400. I mean, he's just 2,500 on FanDuel. That's dirt cheap there. Mike Ford continues to be super cheap, hits righties pretty well. So these Mariners, 5-stack, 3-man stack, I think are definitely in play for me as a contrarian stack on the slate, or a mini stack to pair with those Braves. So I'm in on the Mariners, out on the Rays personally. Where are you at?
Yeah, I think the Mariners are interesting. Little, like you said, 15% strikeout to righties, but he just really hardly walks anybody. But man, these Seattle bats are all pretty cheap all the way across the board. Like Suarez, Teoscar is cheap. I mean, I think it's somebody that you could look at pairing with the Braves if you want to pay up. I mean, that's just the way today's going to be. So I do think the Mariners actually are going to be one of the chalkier teams because I think they're so cheap, especially on FanDuel. When I was building lineups, I seem to keep going back to that and seeing some of these cheap Mariner bats going, oh, well, that fits well. That looks good. And then you look at the team totals for the games here today. Mariners are sitting in third, but the Cubs are a little bit higher than the Mariners, and we're already worried about that being a little bit of a cold win game. So in reality, I mean, I'd have these Mariners, according to team totals, probably in second right behind the Braves. Unfortunately, it's about 2.5 runs behind the Braves, but, they are sitting there. So, it's definitely interesting. I think some people are going to go there. The salaries are just so cheap. But, I was just trying to look here and see what Seattle, how they've been hitting here in the last 15 days. I generally like to pay attention to that.
They've been good. I mean, Julio Rodriguez has been crushing the baseball. Tio Hernandez has been crushing the baseball. Cal Raleigh.
Yeah, they're third no PS.
Yeah,
they're third no PS in the MLB. So, yeah, I mean, I think they got 27 homers in 15 days. If it wasn't for the Astros and their crazy run they just went on last series, they'd be right up there. But, yeah, Mariners, I love following the top teams. Baseball to me is, a sport that, you get hot. I like following hot teams. You got the Mariners top 5. It fits. It's a great play. I'm a little concerned on FanDuel. It's going to be really, really popular. I think it's just the secondary stack that everybody's going to go to. So I'm a little bit concerned. I think if I'm going to play Braves, I don't think I can play Seattle with them because it's going to be way too chalky.
So I actually don't see that. I don't see them getting ownership right now, at least where I'm looking. I'm seeing Cleveland getting a lot of ownership as a secondary stack. Some Yankees there, even on FanDuel. Seattle's down there. So especially on DraftKings, I mean, Seattle's one of the lowest owned teams on the slate in terms of stacks. So I definitely love them on DraftKings here. Sounds like you're kind of in agreements here a little bit. Next game on the slate, we have the Dodgers heading into Miami here. Braxton Garrett on the mound for the Marlins. Pretty good real-life pitcher here. And Ryan Pepio on the mound for the Dodgers here. Dodgers, you can always make a case for low-owned Dodgers here. But personally, I'm off this game in terms of bats. Can't play everyone. 6-game slate. I like other offenses better. Do you see something I'm missing here?
I mean, Pepio does struggle a little bit with lefties. I mean, it's a huge difference in K rate that you see from righties to lefties. He's down to like 18%, especially with the last 30 days here. So, I mean, if you wanted to pick a one-off, I think Chisholm would be interesting. I mean, they do have some decent lefties. Arias, of course. But I think Jazz would be an interesting one-off just because he doesn't strike out lefties all that much. So I think that'd be a spot that I'd look.
Yeah, no, great breakdown there. Next game on the slate, we got to talk about it. It's Carlos Rodon chalk night against these Detroit Tigers. Erod on the mound. You can always make a case to play Aaron Judge, right, against the lefty. Stanton against the lefty. Jason Dominguez finally hit his bomb last night. I had him cord. That was nice to see. Nice little one-off there. Kyle Higashioka hits lefties pretty well. He's in that lineup. Yankees are rolling out the double catcher lineup tonight with Austin Wells, Kyle Higashioka there. Personally, I don't have a ton of interest in the Yankees. I do think the Yankees get some ownership here. At least that's what I'm seeing. And then on the Tigers side, I mean, you can always make a case to play these Tigers. I would definitely look at Spencer Torkelson, Jake Rogers, and Kerry Carpenter have the best numbers. At least that's what I'm seeing right now against lefties. But Carlos Rodon, I mean, yeah, he's got a good strikeout rate over the last month to left-handed bats, 29%, but also giving up 14% walks. ISO of 364, fly balls are there, low ground balls. So, I mean, he's getting hit pretty hard from the left side of the plate. So it's pretty much either a hard hit or a strikeout. Obviously, there's only one lefty in that lineup. It's Kerry Carpenter, but he's good lefty-lefty. So I don't think he's the worst play there. But the bats that you want to play for these Tigers are kind of expensive, right? Spencer Torkelson, 4,700. Kerry Carpenter, 4,400. Jake Rogers is cheap, so Jake Rogers probably my favorite one off there. My favorite guy against the lefty, 2,800 at the catcher position on DraftKings. I think he's fine, but definitely prefer, I think, the leverage on some of these Tigers against Rodon than playing some of these Yankees against Erod.
Yeah, I mean, Rodon, the lefties scare me. I don't think I'd go there. Carpenter, like you mentioned, is interesting. He does have a 460 WOBA his last 30 days against lefties. Torkelson's sitting at 480. Abanez is sitting at 424. So I think those are the guys I would probably focus on. I don't mind Jake Rogers either. He just strikes out quite a bit. But 2, 3, 4, 6 is probably about where I'd go looking for the Tigers. Maybe some one-offs I think might be a decent way to go. Over on FanDuel, they're really not that expensive. Rogers is 2,500. You can look at Carpenter's $3,000, Torkelson's 3,300. So, that's why when I was saying Seattle, I just thought Seattle was just so much cheaper. And I just, maybe my mind knew that Seattle was hitting well, and I just kept going back to them when I was building. I was thinking, man, they're going to be, whenever I'm building my own teams and I come across, like, I think the path everybody's taken, I just feel like it's chalk. But yeah, I think the Tigers are interesting. Dominguez, I mean, I had him in my core yesterday too. That dude, he is a Martian, man. That guy is something else. I think he's going to be a special talent there in New York. And I mean, they put that guy next to Judge. That just might even make Aaron Judge even better. But man, this kid he's good. I do like him today, even against Erod. I just think this kid has got a special talent. I like him. I like when these kids come up. You get these guys that have been playing, they get into September. It's like, all right, let's mail it in. Let's get either to the playoffs, or I got to turn it down a little bit. I don't want to get hurt, or it's golf time. Let's get the hell out of here. You get some hungry kid like this, walk up, wants to show his face and his name to the world. These are the guys that are locked in. These are the guys I like to play. September is a tricky time for baseball, as we know. The September 1st call-ups, there's a lot more pinch hitting going on. Pitchers get taken out earlier. I mean, baseball has changed. This last week here, baseball has changed. So, we got to pay attention to that kind of stuff. Make sure you guys pay attention, to a lot of teams that are more apt to start pinch hitting. It's going to start happening more. So, definitely something, but I do like this Dominguez kid. I think he's focused. I think it's somebody you're going to want to play as the season continues to roll on here, as we, roll into the end of the year. But yeah, the Tigers, as I mentioned, Nades, if you want to be different, I think you play the Tigers against Rodon, especially on FanDuel. I think FanDuel is going to be really, really popular.
Yeah, absolutely. No, excellent breakdown. Yeah, Dominguez, one of the best touted prospects in all of baseball. I mean, there was so much hype around this kid, especially in the card industry, right? You got to,
I got a few.
First Bowman, Dominguez was selling for crazy amounts of money. It's going to continue to he's set up for success, right? He's sandwiched between Aaron Judge, Stanton, and Gleyber Torres, who has definitely turned a corner this season he's hitting third, sandwiched between those guys. I mean, are you going to pitch to Aaron Judge, or are you going to give a shot for this rookie, right? I mean, eventually they're probably not going to give a shot to either of them. But right now, I'm definitely, if I'm a pitcher out there, I'm giving Dominguez a chance to beat me versus Aaron Judge, right? Everyone knows what Aaron Judge can do. So he's going to get pitches to hit. He's just 3,500. I cored him last night as a one-off. Got the job done. Definitely, he was pretty low owned overall. So I like him there. But overall, I definitely like the Tigers side a little bit more in this one. Next game, we have the Cardinals heading into Atlanta, Truist Park, chalk of the slate, Atlanta Braves. But, man, it's hard to ignore. They do have some cheaper bats now in this lineup with Austin Riley getting the day off. Travis d'Arnaud's in there at the catcher position, 4,200. Eddie Rosario's hitting 5th at 4K. Ozuna's bumped up to the cleanup spot here at 4,200 or 4,800. And you got Nicky Lopez down there as a cheap guy, 2,400 on FanDuel, 3,300 on DraftKings. The back half of this Braves lineup on FanDuel in particular is extremely cheap. I mean, they're all sub 3K for a team that's implied to score over 7 runs. I think that's the mega chalk on FanDuel. DraftKings, they're going to be chalk, but it's going to be lower owned, I think, because they are more expensive. But it's hard to ignore. I love the Braves. Braves, my favorite stack of the day, 1 through 9. I mean, you play anyone, play the manager, play whoever you want. I stack against Wainwright against whoever's playing against them, and it's not changing here. So love the Braves. Are you with me?
It's hard not to. I mean, damn, Wainwright's throwing damn beach balls up there. I mean, the guy ain't missing anything. But, yeah, I mean, Atlanta, Ozuna, he's just been absolutely smashing here in the last 15 days. Guys, OPS 1.246. He's got 5 bombs. I mean, that's to me is the hottest Atlanta bat. You're right. You mentioned the lower half of that lineup. I've been noticing a lot of Braves. I mean, it's usually, you throw Riley's normally in there, of course, But I mean, it's just like generally everybody's only playing the top 5 bats. I mean, that's where all the ownership's going. Arcia hardly ever gets rostered. Nicky Lopez only gets rostered because he's so damn cheap and he's down in the 9 hole, and you bring it around and you pair him with Acuna, and it's like you paid $3,000 for 2 guys. So, I mean, to me, I think the bottom half is not going to be as popular. I think if you wrap it around, maybe even include Arcia in your stack tonight, Arcia will be the lowest owned guy, I feel, in that Braves stack here tonight. I mean, that's just a way to get different. I'm not saying he's the greatest play. I mean, I just think so many Braves are going to be played. If that's the way you want to go, the 8-9-1-2 stack is definitely interesting if you want to look at that. But I like Ozuna. Is this the guy I've been playing? I always laugh. Hamwich says he hates playing Ozuna, and it's like he's one of my favorite guys to play, actually. But
yeah, you know what you're getting with Ozuna. It's basically a home run or bust, pretty much.
Right.
I mean, yeah, he's been better over the last month for sure than in strikeouts. I mean, but he typically used to be 30+% strikeout guy with an ISO over 240, right? So it's a lot of power and a lot of strikeouts, but he's mitigated the strikeouts some, and he continues to hit for power. So yeah, I love him in the cleanup spot. And yeah, I mean, I bring it up every time with these Braves. Orlando Arcia never gets played, especially on DraftKings. I mean, he's hitting 8th at 4,100 at shortstop. So I love him. I love the Braves. I mean, Michael Harris, play Michael Harris too. 4,500 down there, lefty against Waino in the 7 hot. He can steal bases, hit for power. I mean, I love it all.
Dude, I'm just laughing at Waino's stats the last 30 days. 4.5% K rate against lefties, 9.5% K rate against righties. Like, what the? He might as well be a kickball pitcher and roll him up there. I mean, what the hell? That's terrible. Yeah. But hey, I just want to shout out a couple people real quick. Nade's here in the chat. Just wanted to, Robert Bickerstaff, hey, double safety meeting kind of night tonight, 313. That's right. Hey, we got some football tonight. We got some baseball. Hey, and if you're in Detroit, man, this is about the most excited we've been about our football team in a long, long time. But, we got Jake Swalls there in the chat there mentioning about Wander Franco's rookie cards definitely taking a hit. Brother, I got a few myself that I'm pissed at myself I didn't sell because I was about to a while ago, and I end up sucking them in. Now, the only thing that could come of it is if you want, you should buy a few. If you want, it's like a stock. If he gets let go and maybe there is a conspiracy going, that card's going to go right back up. But, yeah, that sucks. But we the people hate the park, love Assad. Hey, appreciate all you guys being in here. Man, it's like Christmas for me. I woke up this morning. I mean, it was like I was getting out of bed, needs to go golfing at 7 a.m. Like when you get up at 7 a.m. to go golfing, you get up, it's great, but 7 a.m. to go to work, life sucks, right? Like that's how I woke up today. I was like, man, this is a great day. Great day. So excited.
Absolutely.
Here.
Yeah, Christmas morning. It's a great time. We got 2 games left here. We'll try and bust through it here for you guys. We appreciate everyone tuning in. Obviously, not a ton of people worried about baseball right now with opening NFL night, but there's still money to be made. There's still good contests. They're pretty decent contests on both sites there. So we'll cruise through it. Next game, we have the D-backs in Wrigley, right? 60 degrees. We already talked about that. But you do have a bad pitcher in Reed Nelson on the mound here. 60 degrees, double-digit wind blowing in. Cubs are going to get ownership, probably second highest owned stack of the day. I don't really understand why. I mean, it's not great hitting weather, but it's just Reed Nelson's not good. He's not a good pitcher, right? 15% strikeout rate, barrel rate of 11.2%, which I think is the highest on the slate. And these Cubs, I mean, they got some good bats that have been hitting the baseball as of late, especially Seiya Suzuki. Suzuki's just 3,100 on FanDuel, 3,700 on DraftKings. I'm personally going to fade this game. And play, like I said, I love Assad here on the hill. I'm fading this game. I play ballparks, I play weather, and I just would rather not play a 60-degree with wind blowing in. I mean, it's cold out there, and these guys, you think these guys on opening NFL night, September baseball, they played all season long, want to go out there in 60-degree weather and try their asses off? I don't think so. So I'm under on this game. Long way of saying that no bats for me in this one.
Yeah, I don't even really like any one-offs really in this game. I mean, I was kind of looking at it a little bit. I mean, I was trying to figure out why the Cubs are the second highest team total. I mean, I guess they didn't really look at the weather here tonight. I guess it's just the computer not knowing any damn different. But Nades, I'm not a fan of this one. And 2, I think 2 is That game's in 7:40 Eastern, which is 6:40 in Chicago. And I got to believe there might be some shadow issues going on. Sometimes I notice that, especially there in Wrigley, the wind's going to be blown in and the shadows are going to be between home plate and the pitcher's mound. That's a problem. So definitely want to think about that. That's just an odd time. 7:40 is not a normal start time.
Yeah. No, easy cross off for me. I do like Assad quite a bit though in that game. When we talked about pitchers, last game on the slate, we head out to Angel Stadium. Pretty good weather, 80 degrees, wind blowing out in Angel Stadium here. You got Cal Quantrill, not a good pitcher on the mound, and then you got Griffin Canning, who has a good strikeout rate on the season, but does get hit around a little bit. It's the only issue is he's facing a offense here in Cleveland who struggles with some power. Cleveland's going to get ownership on the slate on both sides due to their price points. I mean, look at their lineup on DraftKings. They got one guy over 4K, and that's Jose Ramirez at 5,900. Everyone else is 3K or below. So I think they're going to get ownership. I prefer the Angels. Angels are one of my sneaky stacks of the day. I wrote them up in the content here. It's not a good lineup, but Quantrill is not a good pitcher. 12% strikeout rate. He just does not strike anyone out. And these Angels got to who'd they get to? They got to what's his face the other night a little bit. Brandon Drury, I like. Mike Moustakas, Ohapi, and Matt Thaiss are both projected to be in that lineup. I like them both. I prefer Ohapi if you have the extra money there at catcher, but I wouldn't hate Thaiss. I think these Angels are interesting here. Pretty good hitting conditions against a pitcher that doesn't strike anyone out. Where are you going in this one?
Yeah, 7% strikeout rate to righties. Yeah, I think Wainwright's better than that. That's absolutely terrible. But yeah, that the Angels are interesting. I don't mind the Angels. It's just that lineup for me has too many road bumps in it. I think I just don't like that lineup to turn itself over. But I do like the Angels. I mean, we only got 6 games today, and one of them I threw out basically for bats, so we really got 5, and everybody's going to play one spot. So it's who your secondary stack pretty much. I think the Angels are definitely interesting. Maybe more so a one-off kind of thing might be the way you could kind of look at it. I mean, how do you say it? Renigfo? I can't probably say it right, but either way.
Luis Rengifo. Yeah,
I got to have a beer or something. I got to have Modelo to say that one. But
yeah, he's been crushing the baseball too.
Absolutely. He's at 13th in MLB last 15 days in OPS. So he'd be somebody, I definitely consider. But yeah, I mean, this game's definitely interesting. You get the late hammer here if you want to go there. But I'm gonna tell everybody, you guys been watching me long enough all season to know, and I'm calling them the Indians. This is the way it is. But the Indians, I'm not playing the Indians. I don't think they had enough homers. The lowest power slugging team in all of MLB. This game's about hitting homers, putting up runs. If they beat me, they beat me. I don't even give a shit. I don't want to play any about them. Every time I see the optimizer stacking up the Indians or Guardians, whatever the hell you want to call them, I'm telling you right now, it just makes me smile because I'm thinking this is going to be a good day today.
I'll tell you what. I ran the optimizer on our partner over here, the Solver, and every single lineup had a 5-man Cleveland with 3-man Braves. So right there is your chalky stack because of their price points. I look at the price points. It's very easy to afford 3 big bats from Atlanta, spend up pitchers, and a team that's implied to score pretty good on the slate considering the slate we have. Guaranteed 9th inning at bat. So yeah, Cleveland was the first team I crossed off. Really no interest. I do have interest in Gabriel Arias. I do want to bring him up. He's a value shortstop there, 2,500. He's been pretty good. Hits righties pretty well too. So I do like him. I did put him in my core for the freeloaders here watching the show. He is in my core. It's more of a salary price point at a weak position there. So I do like him, especially if you're not playing Orlando Arcia in your Brave stacks. That's going to do it for the show here. Let's go ahead and give the people your low-owned pitcher call and your home run call, and then we'll get on out of here. Build the lineups for MLB. Watch those games go off, and then flip the old second TV on, the third TV on, the fourth TV on, the monitor, whatever you have, and turn that Kansas City Chiefs game on, or for your sake, the Detroit Lions game there. But go ahead, your low-owned pitcher of the day.
We'll go with Assad. I think Assad, as you mentioned, I think he's going to be a little on. See, look, I took your guy, but hey, there's only 6 games, so that wasn't that hard. But either way, that'd be my guy. I think my home run call of the night. I'm going to go, which I have never done in this DFS space. I'm going to say my man Torque's going to hit a home run tonight. Low-owned homer of the night. I've never said he's going to hit a homer before. I'm saying today he's hitting the homer today. And for the last tidbit of the day, you want to make some cheddar, all you got to do is bet on the boys right here. See this right here? Detroit Lions. You should be betting on the Lions today. I think they're winning outright in Kansas City. Call me crazy. One team's trending up, one team's trending down, and I'll take the one trending up. Jameer Gibbs coming out party tonight, boys.
There it is. There it is. You heard the wise words from the man. I'm going to lock arm in arm. I'm giving the same pitcher because I talked about him first. I'm going Javier Assad too. I love him. Love his price point on DraftKings. Direct pivot right there off of Rodon. Assad's been very good. Rodon has definitely blown up. I mean, he's had some good starts as of late, but fraction of the ownership, freezing cold game in Wrigley with the wind blowing in. Give me Javier Assad here as well, especially on DraftKings. My home run call is the late addition to this Braves lineup, hitting sixth against Mr. Adam Wainwright. It's Travis d'Arnaud at the catcher position. I love him here. He's just 4,200. Doesn't get the lineup too much with Mr. Sean Murphy in there. When he gets in there, he usually tries to show out. I think he puts one over the wall in Truist Park tonight. I love Travis d'Arnaud. That's going to do it for the show. We appreciate y'all tuning in, giving us the time of the day on this NFL opening evening here. Gyiraszin got the money gun flowing over there. He's spitting money all over the place. He said, take the Lions outright, whatever you have. Definitely head over, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Take a look at our showdown breakdown that Hoop, Title, and Tambo did right here on this channel. About an hour and a half that they went through everything you need to build lineups tonight. All of our content's already up. MLB content's up. My cores and things, along with Tambo and Hoops player pools for the NFL Showdown game tonight. Gyirazin's going to get his stuff up. We have you covered over here again. $321 does get you access locked in. This price is going away. I believe September 9th, this price does end. So you got 2 days to get in here, gets the entire, and it's the cheapest all-in price in the industry. And this price is just absurd for the value that you receive. So that's going to do it. We appreciate y'all tuning in. Good luck in your contest tonight. Definitely watch some football, turn on some baseball, but that's going to do it. For Gyiraszin, I'm Nades. We'll catch you guys next time.